Hello, thanks so much for clicking on my video. Welcome to my channel, Lovely Moments Creating. If you are new here, consider joining the family by hitting that subscribe button and remembering the notification bell so you can be reminded when I upload a video. My name is Jenny, and on this channel I create budget-friendly DIYs that's easy to do. In today's video, I'll be sharing with you 4 spring signs that I created by pairing budget-friendly items together. If you want to see what I came up with, keep watching. Thank you for clicking on my video. I truly appreciate your support. I'm excited to share with you these 4 spring DIYs. For the first DIY, I have a pack of these wood planks here, and there are 6 in the pack, and I'll be using all 6 of these. And these items did come from the Dollar Tree. I have this saying that said, "Faith can move mountains." I think the font is so pretty on these. I also have some floral stickers from the Dollar Tree, and I'll be using all 6 of those stickers. I have 3 of these Easter signs, and I will be removing the attachments. My paint colors will be white chalk paint and some antique wax color. Now what I'm going to do first is remove the strings as well as the attachments from these signs. And since I'm not going to be gluing these together, I'm also going to remove the paper off of these signs, and that way my sign will be finished on the front and the back. Now what I'm going to do is line the 3 signs up, and I'm leaving a gap in between them because I am going to add those wood planks to these signs, and that's how I'm going to connect them. So I'm just going to add some hot glue, and I'm going to place one down on one end, connecting 2 of the signs together, and then the second plank I'm going to add some hot glue and just connect that right next to the previous one, and that's how all 3 of my signs will be connected. I'm going to repeat this step down the middle as well as on the other end of this sign. And so you do have to watch where you're placing the glue so that when you flip the sign over, you don't see the glue in between the cracks. And that I did forget to do. So when I flip my sign over, if there's any glue showing, I'll just take my sanding block from the Dollar Tree and I'll just sand off any glue. And then after I get that done, I am going to go in with that white chalk paint, and I'm going to paint the entire sign with that color. And then I'm going to take that antique wax color and just messy dry brush in between the cracks and around and slightly over the front of this sign, just giving it a nice messy distress. I wanted this sign to have that worn look. And after I get that complete, what I'm going to do is then start adding my stickers and my wording to this sign. So this Faith Move Mountains is smaller than I would like for this large sign, but I'm okay with that because my florals are so big. And so now I'm going to start adding my florals, and I'm going to add some to each end of each one of these signs. And so I'm making sure that I place them to where they cover those holes. And then after I get those 3, I'm going to place one at the top, and then I'm going to place the other 2 on the bottom because I want to leave that spot for the top. I have a bow that I created for a DIY that I was going to do, and I want to use that bow because I think it would look pretty on this sign. But first, what I'm going to do is go in and Mod Podge over these stickers and that wording to make sure that everything is nice and secure. I'm just making sure that I add enough glue and that I have everything tacked down on this sign. And so after I get all of the Mod Podge over there and the glue dries, then what I'm going to do is I did create that bow out of this really pretty Hobby Lobby ribbon, and I paid $2 for this ribbon. It was 50% off, and I thought this bow was cute. And that's just a little Dollar Tree flower bud in the center, and I'm just going to add some hot glue and tack that down right on the side. I thought this would look really pretty on this sign. And then what I'm going to do is add some jute cord to the back of this sign so that I can hang it. And so I'm just going to add some hot glue down the side of this wooden plank, and then I'm going to add the jute cord, and then I'm going to stretch it over and do the same thing on the end. And then after I get that completed, just for extra security, I am going to go in and add some hot glue to the top of each wood plank on the end, and this sign is complete. And I really like how this turned out, and I cannot wait to style this in my home for the spring. And now I'm going to get started on the second DIY sign for today. I have two of these Easter tag signs that I will be using, and I have one of these little wind chimes with the little flower and the bell. I also will be using some antique wax and some white chalk paint and a little bit of that soft pink. I'm just gluing these two signs together. I'm also going to use some of that Hobby Lobby ribbon that I used to create that bow with in the first DIY. Now what I'm doing is painting over this sign with that antique wax. Well, I'm actually staining it because I'm going to stretch this color all over this sign just to give it a nice stained look. And then once I get that covered, I am going to go in and dry brush over this sign using that white chalk paint. And what I'm going to do is just go over it until I get the desired look. I'm just looking for a really nice, pretty, distressed look. And so what I'm going to do after I get this complete is I'm going to remove the bell and the chain from that wind chime because I'm only going to be using the flower. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that white chalk paint to paint this. I'm just pulling up my leaves so that I can get everything painted. And then I'm going to give it two nice coats of that white chalk paint. I'm just going around the bottom first to make sure that I have everything covered at the bottom, and then I'll go to the next set of leaves until I get everything complete. And then after I get that covered, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that antique wax color just to create the little middle part again. And so I'm just showing you the ribbon that I had. And so now I'm just going to go in and paint right in the center using that antique wax color. And then after I get that complete, I am going to take that soft pink color and I'm just going to dab around my leaves with that, giving it a nice distressed look. And so I'm just going right around the tip of the leaves. And then after I get that complete, what I'm going to do next is add my ribbon to my sign so that I can add my flower next. And I'm just going to take that ribbon and I'm going to add some to the bottom as well as to the top of this sign, and I'll just be attaching it using some hot glue. And I'm just making sure that I tack it down in the back, and I'm going to do the exact same thing to the top with the other piece of ribbon that I have. And then after I get my ribbon attached, then I can go in and add my flower right in the middle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of those little tumbling blocks from the Dollar Tree and I'm going to glue that down to the back of my floral first, and then I'll glue that down to the middle of the sign. And then once I get that attached, I'm just going to take some jute cord and hang it back in the hole so that I can be able to hang this. And I know this is simple, but I really think this is so pretty. And I really like how this turned out, and I cannot wait to style this in my home for the spring, and I think it's going to look great paired with some other existing decor that I have. And so now what I'm going to do is I am going to get started on the third DIY for today. And for that DIY, I have two of these welcome signs from the Dollar Tree, and I will be removing those attachments. I also have one of those flower garden stakes that I'll be using, as well as some of that wired jute cord. And I also will be using some paint colors. I have the same soft pink paint color as well as some moss color, and I will be using some truffle color and some white. Now what I'm going to do first is I glued those two signs together after I remove those attachments, and I'm just going over the sign using that truffle color. And now I'm just taking my sanding block to distress over that, because what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dry brush around that sign with that white chalk paint, and I'm just going right around and distressing it, actually just all the way around the rim. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to detach my flower and my leaves from the stick, because I do not want to use that. And so after I get those detached, what I'm going to do is start painting them. And so I'm going to go in with that soft pink color, and I'm going to give it 2 coats of paint. And after I get that complete, I am going to go in the middle with some of that truffle color and just add my center of my flower back. And then I will be using that moss color to paint over my leaves. I'm not going to give it a full coverage. I'm going to lightly go over it, just giving it a light coat on both of them. And after I get that complete, what I'm going to do is add my pieces to my sign. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace that stick with some of this wire jute cord. I'm just cutting off how much I'm going to need. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach my flower to my sign first, and I'm going right at the top. And I'm going to take one of those little Dollar Tree cubes to add in the center. Those actually worked better than a tumbling block. And then I'm just going to place it right on my sign. And then I'm going to take that wire jute cord and I'm going to add my stem. I'm going to add some hot glue so that I can add it under my flower. And then once I get that tacked down, I'm just going to bend how I want my stem to look on my sign. And I'm only going to attach the hot glue to the bottom where I attach it. I do want the stem to be flexible. I'm going to attach my leaves, and to cover those holes on the leaves, my stem will be right on top of them. And so I'm just adding some hot glue to press that down, and then I'm going to take some hot glue and go under the leaves just to make sure that they are nice and secure to my sign. The next thing that I'm going to do is take some jute cord, and I'm going to tie a knot on both ends, because this is how my sign is going to hang. And I'm actually going to glue the jute cord on the front to cover those holes. So I'm just going to place some glue in the hole and then add the little knot in the inside. And I really like how this turned out. I know this one is really simple as well, but I think it's pretty for the spring, and I like that they can blend in with some existing decor that I have, and I think this is really pretty. And so now what I'm going to do is get started on the last DIY for today, and what I will be using is 2 more of those welcome signs from the Dollar Tree, plus the 2 attachments that I poured off the previous sign. I have some poster letters, and I will be using some white and some truffle color chalk paint. Now what I'm going to do is glue these 2 signs facing each other. I did remove those attachments off those signs, and I will be saving those as well. I'm going to paint this sign using that truffle color. And after I get that completed, what I'm going to do is I'm only going to distress right in the center of this sign with that white chalk paint. I'm just right now distressing the edges with my sanding block, and then I'm going to go in now in the center, and I'm going to go heavily with the white chalk paint, just concentrating on the middle of the sign. I am going to take some jute cord to add to both ends of this sign once I get this complete. And what I'm going to do is attach it from the back, and I am just going to add some hot glue and wrap it around on the ends. I am making sure that I cover the holes on the end of the signs. And then I'm just going to attach it in the back with some hot glue to make sure that everything is tacked down, and I will repeat this on the other side. Once I have that complete, I am going to go in with my words, and I'm going to spell on this sign, "Be kind." Now you can take your ruler to make sure that everything is straight, but I'm just going to eyeball this. And after I get both of my words spelled out, I am going to go over this sign with some Mod Podge to make sure that these letters are secured. And I'm just going to make sure that I add enough Mod Podge to go over the whole sign so you won't see any of those streaks. Now I'm going to add those attachments that I took off the previous sign, and then I'm going to add some jute cord to the back of this so that it will be able to hang. And I think this was another simple sign, but I love the saying, be kind, and I really like how this turned out. And I cannot wait to style this in my home as well with my other signs that I created today. And I really like how all of the signs turned out. And so here's another look. And I really think they all came out so pretty. Thank you again so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video just as much as I did, please remember to give it thumbs up. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my channel because I would love to have you here. As always, in the comment box below, let me know which one of these signs were your favorite. And until next time, stay safe and I will see you in the next video.